since we're busy, let's get busy. Let's just get down to it, man, because Ben here was telling me that he got to listen to the Beach House album as a sort of part of his college radio experience, and that he got to check out, some of the album just from there. So I'll kick that on. I'm not gonna lie, this album is long as fuck.
It's so fucking long.
This album is so long, and
like there's a 7-minute track, like not even halfway through it, and it's like we're not even close to being done.
no,
at all.
No. Yeah, that was well, and I want to talk about this really as a major aspect about the album, because to be honest with you, even though I've been listening to this, I'm still kind of seeping it in, and like you said, it's a long album, and you've only been able to hear half of it. But so one thing I really wanted to angle in on was this idea of releasing an album in 4 parts. And now that we have the whole album here, it is kind of interesting to me, considering that it's an hour and a half long album. So releasing it in 4 parts to me is like, okay, divvying that length up is interesting. But I'm not gonna lie to you, when I first heard of this, when I first realized this is what they were doing, I was not really a fan of the notion to release an album in 4 parts. So I'm just wondering, like, based off of that, for an artist that you like, I think both of you are cool with Beach House, but imagine an artist or a band that's maybe one of your upper tier favorites, and they release an album like this. How do you feel about it? Does it depend on the artist, I guess?
What do you think, Trent? I'll let you go first on this.
Sorry, y'all. I'm like fucking up a cinnamon roll right here.
It's all good.
I'm
Was
so
it warm?
jealous,
Did you
bro.
get to warm up the cinnamon roll? Because that's
Well, we went to Crema Coffee.
Oh,
Got myself
yes.
a cinnamon roll. Well, we got a cinnamon roll and a manchego mushroom like bun. Sweet and savory. We split that shit. I've smashed the manchego mushroom bun. That was gone in about 5 seconds. But this is a little more hands-on.
Yeah, sticky again.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, I don't know that I really have that much of like an opinion on the like 4-part album release. I think it's one of those things that, like, with some artists, I think it would just be like that's overkill and like too complicated and convoluted to like make sense. It's not necessary. And then with some artists, it's like if it feels like something they would do, like. I could peg Beach House as doing this before they actually did it. Like, if someone were to tell me, like, oh, they might do that, I'd probably be like, yeah, that makes sense. Like,
yeah.
So I didn't really feel any type of way about it. I think if, like...
Did you actually listen to them, like, as they were coming out, or did you just wait?
I listened to them as they came out. And actually, now I'm thinking about it a little more, like, it might have actually worked well for this album. Like, now I'm thinking about it, like, because that's actually, I don't know if it's like on streaming, if it's still in parts, like in addition to like the full album. Well, then, like, I don't know, maybe that's actually a better listening experience, because my biggest gripe with this thing is it's so long. And Beach House, like, they're not even known for making long albums. Like, most of their albums are like 45 minutes with like a normal album length.
Yeah.
And I did find myself, like, I love Beach House, and I love over half of their albums, I think, are great albums, and the other half are good albums. Like, and I found myself just getting kind of tired of this album after a while. Luckily, I think the back half of it is a little better, so it kind of brought me back into it. But yeah, like around the midway point, I was like, I'm kind of done with this. Like, I'm looking a little bit over basically. This.
Okay, word. Ben,
so maybe that 4-part thing might actually make sense. Going back and listening to it in parts, I can kind of.
I'm low key.
It's kind of choose your own adventure type deal.
Yeah, I'm low key not as mad at it as I was like just hearing the idea. But Ben, let me pass it over to you.
It's like there's a fine line between it being like a very good thing in terms of like establishing like a thematic quality to an album or it becoming gimmicky. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this, I can see it because they're like a very like serious group, and they're doing it obviously for a reason. And it kind of, from what my friend Nick was telling me, because he did a full like listening of it and then hung out with us at the listening party, he was saying that most of like the first half is kind of like, as what I picked up, it's like most like kind of stripped back a little bit, and then it gets like kind of synth poppy on the second half, and it kind of is this divide like sonically. So I understand it from that standpoint. I just have a very short attention span, and Beach House notoriously, as Trent said, I fuck with like almost all of their shit, like Bloom, Teen Dream, Depression Cherry, all fantastic.
Even
so it's like
Thank Your Lucky Stars, I think is a great album.
I've been listening to.
I've slept on it.
Thank You Lucky
I've been
Stars.
sleeping on it.
Devotion is another like.
Devotion's good. They're all really good.
Yeah, they are. They are.
But
Very
like,
consistent discography. So they've earned the right to like try some new shit out, is what we're saying.
Absolutely. Because it's like how many like, I don't know, 12 to 15 track albums you're gonna have that are like 40 minutes. Like, I don't know. They tried something different. They kind of blended different sounds. Like the first half was kind of like like I read it in the description too. They kind of focused on like the 60s kind of aesthetic in the first half, like singer-songwriter-y, like even folky to an extent on certain tracks.
Joni
exactly.
Mitchell. Yeah.
Exactly.
With some Joni
Like
Mitchell.
there's some points in the first half where like it's really just like either an acoustic guitar, and I forgot the lead singer's name, but her voice and some guitars in the background, and that's it. Like it's no crazy dreamy shit like I'm used to.
Yeah.
And then the second half transitions into something completely different, and it's more like an 80s like synth wavy kind of thing, you know? So I think it works for them, but it doesn't really work as much for me as a listener.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like it makes sense in their artistic vision, just not so much for me, because it gets a little it drags even in the first half.